bei Duft den neuen Song aus dem Sägezahnzyklus und all diejenigen, die schon gegessen haben und ihre Meitlinge trinken, rumnuckeln, sollten endlich mal ihre Nase bewegen und auch die Tanzfläche bewegen. Und nun geht es los.
You are listening to Däs Bündesliga Show here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on Twitter at LockBetting.com. That's at LockBetting.com. We've just posted the spreadsheet for the month of February, and the month of February was the 117th month in a row of transparent track profit. That is the pin tweet on the Lock Betting Twitter account, which is at LockBetting.com. The same handle is the handle for the TikTok, where we post 30 to 45 second easily digestible betting videos, so it's well worth a follow. We also post the same videos on Instagram, which is simply at Lock Betting. So moving on with this edition of Däs Bündesliga Show, we start with a game at the bottom of the table where Bochum are hosting Schalke. Schalke hit on 23 to 10 underdogs. It's 12 to 5 on the draw, and Bochum here are the 11 to 10 favourites. I don't agree here with the favouritism of Bochum because Schalke are making a real run to try and survive at the moment. They're not exactly setting the world on fire with entertainment and picking up wins, but they did pick up a win last week. And that built on what they've done recently, which is going unbeaten in 4 games prior to that. So they come into this one with an unbeaten record of 5 games in a row. Whereas Bochum, they've lost 4 in a row. They haven't scored a goal in the last 3 games, and without a clean sheet in the last 15. The two teams have contrasting data in terms of goals being scored, with over 2.5 goals cashing in 5 of the last 6 with Bochum, but under 2.5 goals cashing in 4 of the last 5 with Schalke. Head-to-head games mean Schalke haven't lost in the last 6, and Bochum without a clean sheet in the last 15. Ultimately, that's irrelevant data because Schalke were relegated and promoted with a different team. But this team at the moment, they're very, very difficult to break down. They'll come here and try to get something from the game. They'll sit in deep, probably settle for a point, but look to nick it if they can. And I think that's going to frustrate a Bochum team who are in terrible form. They're not scoring goals themselves. So I think the under looks the better play. But ultimately, I'm going to take Schalke to avoid a defeat here. I think given their recent run, 4 to 6 minus 150 on them on the double chance market to them for them to extend their unbeaten run to 6 straight games looks like the play. And that's what we're going to take here for this one. Up next, we move on to the game between Mons and Hoffenheim, where Mons are the 10 to 11 favourites. It's 13 to 5 on the draw. It's 3 to 1 here on Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim having a relatively poor season. They'll definitely be looking to move higher up the table, but they come into this off the back of 6 straight losses in a row. They've already made a managerial change. It hasn't made a difference. Whereas their opponents, Mons, they come into this off the back of 3 wins in a row. Hoffenheim haven't won in 9. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 20. But ultimately, I do think they'll be able to find the back of the net here. More than 2.5 goals have been scored in 7 of the last 7 games involving Mons. More than 2.5 goals have been scored in 8 out of the last 10 with Hoffenheim, with both teams scoring 8 out of the last 10 involving both of these two teams. Whereas their head-to-head records see Hoffenheim without a clean sheet in 8, with both teams scoring in 6 of the last 8. Really torn between the over 2.5 goals on both teams to score, and I narrowly lean towards both teams to score, which is available here at 4 to 6 minus 150. Up next, we look at Union Berlin at home to Cologne. Union Berlin trying to bounce back from being beaten by Bayern last weekend. They're the even money favourites to get the bounce back, 12 to 5 on the draw and 10 to 3 here on Cologne. I think this is a game where Union can win and bounce back. Obviously, suffered a setback last week, but they're still having a really good season, and this is the type of game I expect them to win. They're the only one of only 2 sides along with Bayern, to yet to suffer a home defeat this entire season. Whereas Cologne, they have shipped 5 unanswered goals across 2 defeats heading into this one. That's poor form, and this does represent an opportunity for Union Berlin to get back on the winning trail. Union Berlin have never lost a game against Cologne in the Bundesliga in head-to-head games, whereas Cologne have not won an away league game since the beginning of September. So good opportunity for Union Berlin to get back on track. Good price. We'll take them here at even money plus 100. Final game on Saturday sees Bayern Munich travel to Stuttgart, where Bayern are the 1-2 favourite, 17-4 in a draw. It's 5-1 here on Stuttgart. Probably would sway away from any kind of major play in this one. Bayern Munich are in that situation where they're playing in the Champions League in midweek. They only have a narrow 1-0 lead over PSV. If they can get through that, that's a huge win for Bayern Munich, and I think they'll be primarily focusing on that. I do think this will be a game that they will win even if they rotate, but I think it will also be a game that has goals. I'm going to take Stuttgart to score one here, and I'm going to take both teams to score as my main lean. You'd have to worry about Bayern. They've scored 30 goals in 11 away matches this season, whereas Stuttgart, they have found a net in 6 of their last 7 outings. Bayern are by far an elite defence, and I do think Stuttgart will be able to find a net in this one. Bayern coming to this one having won 12 consecutive competitive away head-to-heads with Stuttgart, with 8 of Bayern's 13 league wins this season featuring over 3.5 goals. And if we get over 3.5 goals here, it's probably very likely that Stuttgart have found the back of the net. Both teams to score is available at 4-6, minus 150. And given this is a look-ahead spot for Bayern Munich, I think that is a very, very good price here for that selection. Up next, we jump across to Sunday, where the inconsistent Bayer Leverkusen are at home to Hertha Berlin. Bayer Leverkusen are the 8-13 favourites to win this, 16-5 on the draw, and it's 5-1 here on Hertha Berlin. You never really know what to do with Bayer Leverkusen, and it would not surprise me to see if Hertha got something here. Leverkusen's European qualification hopes are dangling by a thread, whilst Hertha Berlin, they have posted some resurgent results as of late as they tried to get themselves out of the relegation zone. Leverkusen coming to this at the risk of losing 3 straight home games for the second time actually this season, whereas Hertha Berlin, they have scored 7 goals in their last 3 games, picking up 2 wins in the process. Both teams to score has been a winning bet in 5 of Hertha's last 7 Bundesliga games, and I think that will be a winning bet again. There's absolutely no way Bayer Leverkusen will keep a clean sheet here. That's something that they haven't done consistently throughout the season. So to get 4-5 minus 125 on both teams to score, I think that's going to be my main selection on this one, but I definitely would not dissuade you from a sprinkle on Hertha Berlin on the double chance market. That one is available at 6-4 plus 150. The final game we have to look at here is the last game here on Sunday, the 4:30 kickoff, where Wolfsburg are hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. It's 7-5 Wolfsburg, 5-2 on a draw, and Eintracht Frankfurt are the 2-1 underdogs. Difficult to know really what to do with this game. Eintracht Frankfurt trying to qualify for the Champions League, trying to get through back to the Champions League. They look like they're going to go out of it this season at the hands of Napoli. But Wolfsburg, they are on a relatively decent run of form, and their manager, Niko Kovac, he's won 4 of his last 5 personal head-to-heads with Frankfurt, and I think he could build on that against a Frankfurt team that are still winless away from home this calendar year in 2023. This could be a game with goals again. 10 of Frankfurt's last 12 Bundesliga away games have seen both teams score, whereas Wolfsburg's last 3 home games in the Bundesliga finished with 3 or more goals. I do see goals in this game, but ultimately I'm going to take Wolfsburg as a pick. You're protected here if it ends up being a draw and you win. If Wolfsburg win, that selection is available at 4-5 minus 125, and that's going to be our main selection here for this one. Closing out with your lock on the show, I did like Borussia Dortmund against Leipzig, which was the Friday game. Did not cover that, though, because I've been travelling to Vegas yesterday. In addition to that, we already have a lot of futures pending on that. Dortmund winning the league without Bayern Munich is imperative to us. We're in a good position with that future, so I've decided to completely pass on that game. The 2 that I shortlisted are very, very different plays. One involves not a lot of goals being scored, and the other one involves us needing goals. I've gone for the needing goals angle. That's a little bit more fun for you guys. And I've decided to go with Stuttgart, Bayern Munich, both teams to score. I like this angle because I do think Bayern Munich are looking ahead. Bayern Munich concede at the best of times, but when they're looking ahead to a game against Paris Saint-Germain, there's definitely an opportunity for Stuttgart to score in this one. Bayern Munich, as I mentioned when we were breaking the game down, down. They always score goals. Even if they do rotate their team here, they should be able to find the back of the net. Bayern Munich have scored 30 goals in 11 away matches this season. And Stuttgart have found a net in 6 of their last 7 outings, with 8 of Bayern's 13 league wins featuring over 3.5 goals. So we ride the data for both teams to score selection as you lock for this show. That's it for me. Good luck with all your bets as always, and thanks for listening.